All right, not the best audio I've ever set up, but been a long weekend. So I just woke up this morning after sleeping for 13 hours or so, and had a long birthday. Place isn't nearly as much of a wreck as it usually is, a thing like this. So okay, so it ain't me. It ain't like me to bring politics up, but it is definitely not very gentleman of me in my personal ethos to not address something when somebody brings something up, and that's just how I roll. I also cannot stress this enough. I don't debate. I just run my mouth. That's it. And that's all I expect of anybody else. I'm tired from being old-ish, kind of, by Renaissance standards, I suppose, where I should have been dead 10 years ago. By nature's rules, probably. Can't pinpoint a time when, if it wasn't for medical science, I wouldn't be around, but I know nature's rules. So to me, suffice to say, I'm feeling my years, and, I like talking politics because doing that shaped my life in many ways. Many ways that I'm going to touch up here. But before I do, I have to put that caveat in there that people misunderstand me as somebody who likes to debate. Debate's where you're trying to change somebody's mind. That's up to somebody's mind. I got into it with my aunt one day, who was arguing about something in the news. Basically, there were anti-Semitic attacks in New York that Hanukkah, I believe it was 2020. And I had noticed a pattern in the news before anybody had, and it was that if you saw assaults going on, especially if they were racially motivated, if the assailant was white, like in the church shooter incident, it was one of the first things they mentioned. If the assailant was either black or some other minority, it was a euphemism was told that was to describe the person or what. So suffice to say, they never said about the person. So they arrested the people, and they were very ambiguous as to any descriptors. And I immediately knew, these are probably the quote-unquote black Hebrew Israelites or something like that, because it's New York. And I knew that without even, because, but so my aunt goes on about it. Another white male. I'm like, Auntie, I'm like, that is not these are not white males, and I can tell you that because it doesn't ever mention their ethnicity in the article. And she says, you really say that because I'm like, look, let's pick one of these attacks. I think there were like 4 of them at the time, and we picked one. And we picked one of the people that were arrested, and we spent over half an hour on the phone, and we finally, read one article, and then it tracked back to, okay, so this is where he was arrested, and this and that, and we eventually tracked it back to where we found the guy's mugshot. And she goes, okay, it's not a white male. And I'm like, okay, you want to do another one? She goes, no. And she says, I understand what you're saying, but you haven't changed my mind. I'm like, well, I mean, for one thing, I hope you've changed your mind that this particular incident, white supremacists, in this case, not that I want to alleviate any white supremacist that commits such an assault from culpability and their affiliation. Of course not. But my point was made, and she said, well, you haven't changed my mind about, I think she meant in general. I'm like, I don't do this to change somebody's mind. I just talk. That's it. I just talk. And what you want to do with that information is none of my business. And that's how dialogue should be. And okay. This is a separate video. This is simply me putting this important caveat in there. Because I remember I was argumentative as a kid. As kids should be, actually. And pretty late in life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a very noteworthy argument. Everyone who knows me knows about this argument. It's going to be in my next video. This one's going to be super short. I'm going to edit this down a little bit because I don't want this more than a couple minutes. So, yeah, coming up.